Hello everyone, it is Sandy B. Stitcher here, Sandy Bacus, and I am here for another cross stitch video. This is going to be an update on some of my whips and a little bit of talk and some thank yous, and that should be about it. Shouldn't take very long. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you for being here and for all the lovely comments. I got really behind with Christmas and everything and having people over and trying to get everything ready. So I just this morning finally got to a lot of those comments, and I just really didn't have time to answer them the way I would have liked to. So mostly I just went through and hearted. But I did want to say thank you so much. I really did appreciate the lovely comments and for you all being here and watching my videos. I did get a couple of new subscribers, and I would like to say welcome to them. And I'm glad that you all are here, and I hope you enjoy seeing my stitching and listening to me yak a little bit, and then we'll go on from here. I did have a couple of special thank yous I wanted to do, and as soon as I find them. Okay, I did want to thank Arlene for her email about that walker. We did watch that video. My husband decided that that wasn't something he needed at this point, but I did convince him to get one of those canes that have been advertised on TV. They're called hurricanes, and they fold up, where the cane he currently has is just static. I haven't talked him into using it yet, but I did talk him into purchasing it. So baby steps. I also want to thank those commenters who shared their stories about family with me. And I pray for each and every one of you. And I hope that things get better. Okay, I did want to say that when I talked to you about my son Mike, his birthday was December 16th. I did send him a text message on his birthday. He said that he really didn't want to see his dad, so he wasn't going to come for Christmas. I told him I would like to see him some point. So it was left with the ball in his court to come back and tell me when he would like to get together. I'm hoping that happens, but I'm not holding my breath. Let's put it that way. I know that if I send him a text message, he will respond to me. I know where he lives. I know where he works. It's not like some of you who have no idea where your loved one is. I can't even imagine that. That's got to be so hard, especially when it's your child. And even though they're an adult, they are always still our children. And all right, I'm going to leave that there, because if I continue to talk about it, I'm going to get emotional. So I'm covering up my emotions with a little laughter there. Okay, let's see where we're going to go from here. I am removing myself from Facebook for a while. My life has gotten things are changing as the Parkinson's takes over more and more of Bob. He can do less and less. He has less and less energy, which means that I have to handle more and more. And so consequently, my time is really not my own anymore. And so I am trying to figure out ways that I can still have time to watch some TV that I'd like to watch, that I can still stitch, that I can still get the things done that I have to do, like paying bills and taking care of the house and cooking food and making sure that his needs are met. So in order to do that, I've had to make some decisions as to what I cannot do any longer. And I've decided that Facebook can be a very large time waster. So I'm going to step away from Facebook. I will still be on Instagram. Um, if you post things and you don't always get a like from me, that may be because I've just been too busy to look. But or I'm looking and I just don't have time to. I'm just scrolling. I don't have time to stop and double tap or hit the heart or whatever it is. Um, and I am going to continue to do these videos for as long as I can. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And if you're hearing a lot of noise right now, Bob is outside, right outside the house here. He did tell me he was going to try to put some wood down the chute for the wood furnace, so that's what he's doing right now. Okay, I did some stitching, and one of the items that I stitched on was Route 66, and this is by Vickery Collections, and I am stitching this one on 14 count, and I believe it's like an ivory or an oatmeal or something like that, and this is where I got to. The bust had been completed, and I was stitching out in here and also down in here. So a little more progress on that one. And then I also was stitching on this Design Works kit, Home Sweet Home. And on this one, I'm using, I believe it was what came in the kit, so it's just says 14 count cloth. So it's like a white. And this is where I am on this one, if you can see that. And mostly what I worked on this time was right up here. Oops, let me move that back out of the way. I did this little pan hanging on the wall here, and then this bowl on the shelf, and I got this all back stitched up here. I wanted to finish the whole shelf here before I went in and did the back stitching on that. So that's how far I got. So this is getting, if you look at, if I set it, let me see if I can do this. If I put it there and put this over here, you'll see that I am making some progress. I have to finish this cat down here and the tablecloth and some other items that are on shelves. And then over here, there's some items up here and those like forks and stuff that are hanging down in a bottle. So it's, and the rest of this, the dog over here. So I am making progress. Not a whole lot, but, and I'm going to talk to you about that in just a moment. And the other one that I stitched on was Japanese Garden. And this is, of course, a Dimensions Gold kit. And it is on 14 count Touch of Blue Ada. And I've got a few threads here. Let me kind of put those down. And I stitched in several places on this one. I'll hold the whole thing up, and then I'll try to bring this in a little bit closer and show you where I was stitching. I stitched all up this hole all the way down through here. Not really down into here, but all of this up through here, different places I was filling in, and all the way up into here. And I'm continuing that, and I'm kind of, you know, just working my way down. As you can see, there's some stitches in here. I put these in this morning, and I'm just kind of working my way across that. because I have quite a bit to go. And I just love the colors in this. This uses a lot of blends. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but it uses blends in different spots. And in the upper part, it used a lot of half stitches with quite a few threads, but now where I'm at, it's mostly full cross. And that's all I worked on this time. And I have plans to, well, I told you that I had some plans the last time, and I realized that that wasn't going to work for me. The working on multiple projects, all, like over a 2-week period, I picked one and I just kept working on it. I didn't want to put it down. So, and I really would like to see some finishes in the following year, in the coming year. And I also would like to start a few of those projects I have waiting for me up there. There's several that are all kitted up, and then I have some that I bought as kits that are ready to go. And I would like to see progress on all of it. So what I've decided to do is to be a little bit more of a monogamous, see, I still can't talk. uh, Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to try to spend a little bit more time on each project and see if I can't see some major progress on some of these and see some finishes. After about a week, I usually start to think, I'm itching to work on something else. So now, like I've been working on Japanese garden. Let me refer to my notes over here. I've had Japanese garden out since Tuesday. So that's 5 days, including what I've stitched so far today. And I think I could still keep working on that today and maybe even tomorrow. But then after that, I think I'm going to be ready to stitch on something else. So, and that's, what I was doing before quite a bit was working on a project 2 days, then putting it down and picking up something else and working on that for 2 days, and sometimes working on something in the morning and something else in the afternoon or evening. And that just wasn't working for me. And especially when I was finding that I just didn't have much time for stitching. There were a few days that I stitched, but usually only for a little while in the morning when I first got up. And then it's like we had so much to do that I just had to, run. So hopefully with Facebook on a back burner where I'm not wasting my time looking at Facebook, I will have more stitching time. And at least that's my hope at this point, and that I can see some major progress and some finishes hopefully in the first 3 to 4 months of the year. I should have some finishes. And then I also have a lot of items upstairs that the actual stitching is done, but I need to do something to fully finish them off. And I really would like to get to that. I didn't get my carpet. It got to be getting too close to Christmas, and so I contacted them and just said, let's wait until after the first of the year. And they breathed a sigh of relief because they weren't sure how they were going to fit it in to get it in here anyways. Sorry. I really wanted to be able to finalize everything I was doing around here for Christmas. 1 second. Okay, that should wet my throat a little bit. So now I'm in the process of getting, all the Christmas stuff put away. And I didn't tell you again what today is. Today is Saturday. It's the 28th of December, 2019. We're fast approaching the next new year. I do go to see the orthopedic shoulder doctor on Tuesday to get cortisone shot in my left shoulder and hopefully have them check out my right shoulder and maybe even get a cortisone shot in that one because, oh my gosh, coming up to Christmas when I was doing so much, I was hurting so bad. And all my Christmas cookies and everything were burning. That has nothing to do with my shoulder, but I was having a heck of a time with my baking. Well, come to find out, my oven thermostat went bonkers and it was getting too hot. And if I turned it down, then it was getting too cold. And none of my baking turned out the way that I would have wanted. So Bob and I went to Lowe's yesterday and we bought a new stove. My other one was only 4 years old. Stuff just does not last anymore. And it's hardly worth calling out a repairman because usually just for them to walk in the door costs more than it's worth. So I just said, well, I'll just get a new one. They had some really good sales. I mean, I got like over $300 off on the stove that I bought. So that was a good deal. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else? Well, let's see. I told you about, I said my thank yous. I apologize to anybody that I owe mail to. It's coming eventually. I'll get there. Okay, I have a pamphlet to show you guys this week. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say that this one, I will only send this within the continental United States because shipping outside of the U.S. on a larger item like this is really expensive anymore. And so I'm going to have to limit this, United States, continental United States only. And what this is, it's called Short and Sassy number 2. This is Leisure Arts leaflet number 548. It's 46 miniature sayings. And I have done some of these. One of them is dust as a protective covering for furniture. I did that one. Let's see. Another one is one day my bud of calm is going to blossom forth into hysteria. The cats. I did that one. I don't have it out here now because I have Christmas stuff out. I put it away for right now. Let's see. What else is on here that I did? Some of these are so cute. I think there was another one that I did. But I'm not, just really quickly, I'm not seeing it right now. But I'm going to hold it up kind of close, and maybe you'll be able to see some of these. But they're all super simple. So if you are a beginner, these would be easy for you. Turn it around here to this side. And there's the rest of it. And they are all, the charts inside, they're all color charts. I'm just kind of going to flip through there. This leaflet is in perfect condition. And I just have so much stuff to stitch already that there's just no way I'll be doing any more of these. So if you're interested in this, just tell me you would like to stitch the sayings, S-A-Y-I-N-G-S, sayings. That's kind of hard to say when you're saying it like that all by itself. Okay, I'm kind of looking around to see if there's anything that I have forgotten. Oh, I read a book, and I read this way before Christmas because I haven't been doing much reading. I had been on the wait list for this for a couple months, and this book was so good. It's called One for the Blackbird, One for the Crow by Olivia Hawker. Very, very good book. It is kind of thick, but I went through this book fairly quickly. I don't want to get too much into the story, but basically it's taking place in 1875, I believe it was, in Wyoming. And it is about two neighboring farms and what happens when the one wife gets caught in a compromising position with the husband from the neighbor farm. And her husband shoots the neighbor dead. Then it goes on to talk about how these two families are going to cope with one father husband dead and one father husband in jail in 1875 in Wyoming. So it's good. I really enjoyed it, and I think you probably would too. So I have to get that back to the library. I think it was due yesterday, so I'm going to owe a nickel. So I better get it over there. I think that's it. I hope to do better videos in 2020. I hope to have more stitching to show you, and I hope that all of you have a wonderful new year. And and for the people who are asking, Olivia is doing really well. She was here on Christmas Eve with her sister and her dad, and she finishes her chemo at the end of January. Yay! And then we'll have to see how things go. She needs to, I don't know if she has to take other meds other than the chemo to continue that or what, or maintenance or whatever, but her actual chemo is finished then. And they said that she's been doing really good. She just gets really tired. But other than that, great. Lori kind of worked too hard coming up to Christmas, and when she came on Christmas Eve, she just looked so tired. But I did see her, what was that, on Thursday? Yeah, we went out to lunch on Thursday, and she was looking a little better. She said that when she went home on Christmas Eve, she slept for 12 straight hours. But she's holding her own. So, and my cousin's wife is now the one with the fractured kneecap. Her leg is in an immobilizer, and she is now at a nursing home rehab facility. And I guess she has to stay there for a total of 6 weeks. So she's doing okay, but we all can continue to use some prayers. And I guess that's about all. So I'm going to send my love out to everybody. I'm going to send my hugs out to everybody. And I'm going to say that I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and that I hope you will have a wonderful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and a wonderful 2020. So take care, everybody. And I'll be back and see you again soon. Bye.